Hello everybody, my name is Victor Bravo and I'm super excited to be putting this video together for you. Today we're going to be covering the 2018 touring Subaru Outback. This car is beautiful, so we're going to go under the hood in the middle of the car, then we're going to talk about the back and the cargo space, and then we're going to talk about the all-wheel drive system and what separates Subaru from everybody else that's out there in the market. Give me a second. So let's start by popping the hood. If you reach under, there's a little lever down here. And that's where it's at. It's tucked under. Okay, so once you pop the hood on the inside, if you line your hand up with the emblem, a little trick. Slide your hand in and then just move left. Your fingers are gonna catch the lever. It's real easy, makes it real simple. So you're not guessing where it's at. So let's kind of go over what's under the hood. This is really cool here. Here we got the master brake cylinder here. We got the cabin air filter here. You just pop that out, lift those up, pull the old one out, put the dirty one in. It's real easy to do. Cool. And this little guy here, this is what allows cool air to go in to the intake to cool the car down. Got your dipstick here, radiator here, coolant's there, oil filter, oil, battery right in front, easily accessible. Got the windshield wiper fluid here. And then right here is where all your fuses are housed. And here's the map of what all the fuses do here. Just to make it real easy for you, and then you have some extra fuses for you right there. So right here, you're looking at a 2.5 boxer motor. Now, I call this the nucleus of a Subaru because this is where all the magic happens. What the cool thing about the Subaru motor is, if you think about the term V6, pistons are moving in a V like this. Or you've heard of the term inline, they move like this. The reason why they call ours a boxer motor is if you think of two people with their backs to each other, our pistons are punching horizontally like a boxer. Now, the cool thing about that is they place our motors perfectly centered of the engine bay. So if you were to slice a Subaru in half, the right side weighs the exact same as the left side. There's a 50-50 weight distribution. They're perfectly balanced, and you feel that when we drive them. Okay, now they color code the things that are yellow. Those are the things you'd want to check before you go on a really long drive. Another cool thing that Subaru does is they put our oil filters right on top, which makes it really easy if you're a hands-on, do-it-yourself kind of person. Now, another really cool thing that Subaru does is they put this sound dampening material under the hood here. The reason why that keeps the noise and vibration and harshness coming from the engine bay from traveling into the cabin. There's a lot of salespeople out there that'll say, oh, this is a flame retardant. If your engine catches on fire, these little plastic pieces have a low melting point, and this drops down, puts the fire out. Those guys are idiots. It's just sound dampening material. Same materials on the firewall, on the side, and under the car as well. Makes it really quiet for you. If you notice, the front of the motor is taller, and as it goes back toward the firewall, it gets lower. So our motors are, not only are they flat, but they're at an angle like this. The reason why that's important is because Subaru has something called breakaway motor mounts. And what those are is if you get into a front-end collision in this car, engine drops to the ground. Now, that's not Subaru's technology. All the other manufacturers have that. BMW, Toyota, Honda, Mazda, Kia, everybody's got it. But nobody else has a boxer motor. Now, because our motors are pancake motors, they're flat, at an angle, when you get into an accident on a Subaru, our engine drops to the ground, our car always uses the motor as a ramp. Our motors don't break through the firewall and end up on people's laps, and that's the difference. So these are weak spots that they put into the frame of the car. They're called crumple zones. So that way, if you were ever to get into an accident, they're designed to collapse like an accordion or like a soda can. Let me kind of show you like that. So that way, the energy doesn't get transferred from here into the cabin where you're at with your family. Very cool. So in the 2.5 liter, this car has 175 horsepower, and it gets 32 miles per gallon on the freeway, and it gets 25 in the city with an average of 28. If you move up to the 6-cylinder, that car is going to get you 256 horsepower. Have you ever been driving at night and some of the lights scattered over here and some of the lights scattered over here that makes it a little hard to see? So with the Subaru, they call this a Hawkeye headlight. And in 5, 10, 15 years, they're still gonna be in a cone and you'll still have great visibility. Now the cool thing is with the touring trim level is you get steering responsive headlights, which is cool because when your wheel moves to the left, your headlights move to the left. Now where that's gonna come important to you is like when you're driving around a mountain. That way when you're going around the mountain, the light's getting there before you do, always giving you the best visibility, which is very cool. Now, a lot of salespeople out there, they don't talk about visibility when they sell cars because everybody has horrible visibility, except for Subaru. So let's kind of talk about that. Now, our engineers call this an aggressive hood slant or slope. Now, they're able to make our hoods at a steeper angle because our motors are pancake or boxer motors. Now, the reason why that's important to you as a driver is when your seat in here is adjusted, your ability to see up and over the hood is fantastic. So let's talk about the tires. These are radial belted all-season tires wrapped around a 19-inch aluminum wheel. On the limited trim level, instead of this light gray here, it's going to be a black insert. And don't forget, you have disc brakes all the way around the car. No more drums, which is really cool. So let's talk about the side mirrors. Now, these guys, they move forward and backwards if you have to get into tight spaces, or if you did hit something, it's not gonna rip your mirror off, it's gonna move. Call them braking mirrors or breakaway mirrors. Now, the cool thing what I love that Subaru does is they take the mirror and they put it on the body of the car. They don't cover this whole corner section of the window, making a big blind spot. Now, they do that for cyclists and people on crosswalks for better visibility for you as a driver. See that right there? Think of that like a roll cage. It's already built into the frame of every one of our cars. See, if you get this right here, this big bolt, that's called an engagement pin. So that gets locked into the frame of the car. So if somebody was to ever T-bone you, it's designed to push out against the car that's hitting it instead of in there where you're at. Now, we use more boron steel in our frames, more than any other manufacturer out there. So this is all boron steel, it drops down in like to an L, and it all gets locked into the frame. What's really cool though is if you were to run into the back of somebody on the freeway and then somebody was to come and slam into the back of your car, our doors never buckled this way. So it's very rare that first responders ever need the jaws of life to get people out of Subarus because our doors always open. Really cool. Moving here to the back of the car, you have this rear bumper applique, which is really cool because when you're throwing stuff in and out of the back of your trunk area, you're not gonna be scratching up your paint, which is cool. And then also we have these sensors here in the back of the car. Now, as long as you're going under 10 miles an hour and whatever's back here is taller than the sensors, if you don't press the brake, the car's gonna stop for you. This right here is the backup camera, and it's been standard since 2015 for Subaru, which is really cool because it has the guidelines that move and it gives you perfect visibility. If you're not a good parallel parker, it makes it super easy to park, which is very cool. Good. So with the seats folded up in their upright position, you have 35 cubic square feet of cargo space in the area for you to fill up with stuff. Now, this right here, they call this a privacy protector. And Subaru recommends you use this during the holiday seasons and during the summertime because people get desperate and break into cars, so it's a good idea to keep it in the car. To release it, all you do is you hit this little button right here, pop that up, and it easily comes out just like that. So to release the seats down, you just pull this little lever out, and it sends the seat down. So in the back of the car, we have 73 cubic square feet of cargo space when the seats are folded down, which is really cool. Now, we also have these sensors that are built into the sides here. So if you were closing the door, and let's say your kids were back here playing and they didn't realize that. No! Just kidding. So you don't have to ever worry about smashing your kids' fingers or their hands. Okay, so this particular car comes with the backseat protectors. Now, basically what the backseat protector is an extension of this cargo tray here. And this is really cool because if you go to the beach, you go to the snow, you're doing gardening, you just take this out, hit it with the hose, and then when it dries, throw it back in. It's really cool. If you lift up the mat here, there's a little handle you can lift up, and then down here there's a hook. You can hook that to the body of the car to free up your hands, so that way you're not having to hold this. This is a little plastic bag, so if you did get a blowout, you could take this bag, wrap it around your old dirty tire, so that way you're not getting everything back here filthy. And then here, this comes with some straps. Can you see that? So that way, if you wanted to tie things to the tie points here, you could do that. Give you a handy dandy screwdriver, Phillips, and a flathead. And this is your pull bar. So what you could do is take the screwdriver, put it on the flathead side. There's a little groove right here. Take your screwdriver, put it in the groove, use your finger for leverage. You pull that out, and then this goes in to the chassis of the car. You don't gotta worry about your bumper part. So if somebody was stuck in the snow, the sand, the mud, and you wanted to be a good Samaritan, you can hook onto that and pull somebody up. Very cool. We have an 8.7-inch ground clearance. And if you look down there, we don't have any big bulky boxes or transfer cases that hang out on the bottom of our car. So it's a straight shot all the way down. So when you're doing off-roading or going off the unbeaten path, you don't have to worry about anything hitting the bottom of your car. Very cool. Okay, so the last thing that I want to show you is the spare tire. It's right here. So what a lot of my dirtbag friends will do is they'll, when they're 7, 8, 9, 10,000 feet up in the sequoias of the Sierra National Park, they'll take this, put it up in a basket on top, and fill the backpack here with ice and beer and water. There's a drain plug underneath the car, but you didn't hear that from me. A really cool feature that Subaru has for their backseat passengers, standard on the premium trim level and up. If this little lever right here, if you pull it up, then it reclines in 3 positions. 1, 2, and 3. Now, to lay it down, all you do is push the button on top right here. Okay. But let's say if you're going to go to an estate sale or you're going to go to Costco and you're going to fill this whole area up full of stuff and you don't want this seatbelt in the way, what you can do is set it up, take it, give it some slack, take the corner of the seatbelt right here and just push it into this little slot. Then that releases it. This gets tucked up here. Very fast, very easy. So for the backseat passengers, you have 2 vents here, 2 heated seats, and 2 USB ports. But one thing that I love that Subaru does is they cut out the back of the seat here for more knee space, which is really cool for tall people like me. So Subaru calls this a multi-texture interior. So it's soft to the touch. Anything that your skin is going to touch, it's soft, and it's this beautiful Java brown leather with the light tan stitching, piano black accents. Automatic windows for the driver in the passenger seat. That's your window lock button. This here, to adjust the side mirrors, you twist that to the left, use it like a joystick, and then twist it to the right to get the other mirror over there. These are the settings. So if you have a short wife and you're a real tall person, you could set yourself for number 1. She could set herself for number 2. The way you do that is you hold the button, the set button, and you push the seat that you want it to remember. Now, another cool thing is on the touring trim level, you're going to get the Harman Kardon sound system. Sounds amazing. So this is a 10-way power adjustable seat here. So if you hit the front of the button, that's for under the knee support, and that reduces fatigue in your legs when you go on long drives. If you hit the back of the button, it tilts your booty up. So that way you can see up and over the hood. This brings the back seat forward. And this whole section of the seat right here, we call this a bladder because when you're adjusting lumbar support, that bladder fills up with air to support your ribs, making it a real comfortable ride, which is super cool. And then, depending on how much head support you like, this adjusts as well. This button right here will lower the back trunk. This is your traction control. So there's a sensor in each wheel that's being read once per second per tire. They're constantly being monitored. So if you were to hit ice, what it does is once the tire loses traction, it pulses the brake, so that way the tire will bite the road again. This right here is the blind spot detection. That is lane departure warning. And this right here is for the eyesight where the car will stop on its own, the automatic stop. And let's say if you're a short person or you have a really low garage, if you can adjust the height of the back rear gate, so that way if you don't want it to open up at its highest, you can always have it lower, open at a lower. This right here is to dim the dashboard lights if you have sensitive eyes at night. When it's at the thinnest point, it's at its dimmest. When the 2 dots are lined up, that's at its brightest potential. Steering wheel here, telescopes, goes up and down and in and out, which is very cool. Okay, so let's focus in on the 8-inch screen that we have here. Then this head unit is now made by Harman Kardon, where our old head units were made by Clarion. So starting with the home button, if you think of the home button, think of that as a desktop of your computer. It's always going to take you back to these same 8 options here. Okay, so let me show you how easy it is to pair a phone. It's that simple. Okay, so now you go to phone. So when you get in your car and you're thinking, oh crap, is my phone paired or is it not? If you see the Bluetooth symbol, battery life, in your bars, you automatically know you're paired. And that's just letting you know you got 100% battery. Now, we're all excited because the car has Apple CarPlay. Now, one of the cool things is once you just plug the phone in like that, Apple CarPlay appears. Here's my messages, my maps, my music, phone calls, what's playing on YouTube, Subaru app, my podcast, my audiobooks, Pandora, Audible, and Spotify. Very cool. Now, we got the seat heaters right here. That's all the way hot. That's medium, that's low, and just keep pushing it and then it'll turn off. Now, we have something called dual climate control. So if the passenger is cold and the driver's hot, if the sync button is off, then you can control this side and I can control my side. Or vice versa, you hit sync and they both become the same. The mode button, that'll take it from your feet and face to just your feet and defrost, face. So when it's 100 and death outside, the first thing you're going to want to do when you get in your car is hit this button, the max AC. And that's how you're going to cool your car down the fastest. Now, I don't want you to get these two buttons confused because a lot of people do. This button here is only for the vents that are inside on the dash. So that's this vent here. This button is for the heaters under the windshield wiper blades, the side mirrors, and for the heaters in the back window. This button here keeps the air that's circulating inside, so if you're going through a field and they're plowing or disking and there's a bunch of dust, that'll keep the same air that's in the cabin circulating. To turn your blowers up, turn your blowers down, the AC button, and the off button. Okay, so when the car's in drive, there's also an M here. That M stands for manual. So you can knock that over, so that way you could drive the car like a stick shift. I'm gonna put it back here. So right there, it's in drive, then that becomes a 1. The reason why it's a 1, think of that 1 as first gear. If you hit the paddle shifter up here behind the steering wheel, then that'll take you to second gear. It's gonna cap us off at second because we're not going anywhere, but if you wanted to lower that gear, you just hit the minus button down. Okay. So the left arrow and the right arrow, that's to change your stations or to skip songs. This plus and minus is for the volume control. The source button will take you from AM to FM to Bluetooth to CD to Sirius XM, however way you want to listen to your music. That right there is the voice command button. You can hit that button and say, call Joseph A. Banks, or call John Lopez.
I didn't get that. You can also say categories like canceling.
This is how you hang up a phone call, and that's how you answer a phone. Back here, that little button is the heated steering wheel. So that way you can heat up your steering wheel when that's lit up. Now, let's talk about eyesight for a second. That is how you turn the cruise control on. You tap it down to set it. And this is if you want to create more distance or shorten the distance from the vehicle in front of you. And this is your lane keep assist button. So that way if you're drifting over, it's going to bump your steering wheel and put you right back in the center of the lane again. Very cool. Windshield wipers are here. It's for your blinkers. So this is right here just letting you know that the passenger person isn't wearing their seatbelt, and that's just letting you know that the airbag is on for the passenger because there's a weight sensor that's in the passenger seat to turn on the airbag. So that way, if nobody is in here and there was an accident that occurred, the airbag's not going to deploy if nobody's sitting in it. That's where you put your glasses. This is where you turn on your lights if you want your lights to turn on when your doors are open. This is the microphone that picks up your voice when you're making Bluetooth calls. And if you want to open up your moonroof, very cool. Now this right here is Subaru's Starlink. So if you're ever in an emergency or you need anything, you can hit that button. If you have any questions or you need to ask anything or questions about your car, any kind of information you need, you hit the blue button. So there used to be a foot stomper or a hand crank for the emergency brake. Can you go ahead and put your foot on the brake? So all you do to engage the brake now is you pull that button up there. To release it, the reason why they did that is so you engage it, you pull up, so that way if you were to bump it with your coffee cup while you're setting it here, you're not going to engage the parking brake. So just remember, pull up is to engage. This button right here is the hill assist. So if you're in a place like San Francisco or Yosemite where there's a lot of steep hills, you can take your foot off of the brake and the gas and your car will stay perfectly still. X mode is for when you're going under 35 miles an hour and you need extra grip to the wheels. Okay, so that's your time and the temperature outside. That's your compass. That's your digital speedometer. That's your timer. That's to let you know how long your car's been running. And you can drive 80 miles with the gas that's left in the tank. And that's your trip A. Okay. So right in between the two vents here, if these little squiggly waves, that's just letting you know that air is coming out. If it's down to the X, that's going to block any air from coming out here. And then in between the two vents, you have your flashers. So I always get asked online through emails, through DMs and stuff, what does eyesight do? So it does three things basically. The first thing that it does is it's constantly reading the lines in the road. So if you're going on a long drive and you start to get sleepy and you drift over, it goes, makes a loud auditory sound, and then it bumps the steering wheel to put you right back in the center of the lane. That's the first thing it does. The second thing that it does is it's reading the cars in front of you. So if the car, let's say in front of you, slams on its brakes, but you look down at your phone or you sneezed and you didn't realize that car stopped, your car's gonna stop for you. The third thing that it does is the cruise control. Now, let me give you just a couple of examples. Let's say you're in the fast lane. There's a diesel truck in the slow lane and there's a diesel truck in front of that. Let's say if the diesel truck in the back wants to pass the diesel in front of it, when it comes into your lane, these cameras are automatically gonna read that diesel is now in front of you and it's gonna slow you down. Once that diesel makes the pass, it'll take you back up to the speed you were going. Very cool. I have my lucky quarter. Listen to this. You hear that? Now, listen to this. It's tingier in the back. It's actually a lot tingier in the back, and it's a lot more flat up here because they put extra layers of gel over our windshield for a quiet ride for the cabin, so that way the noise and vibrations and harshness that are coming from the hood don't get transferred inside. More quieter ride for you and your family. If you're coming from one of the other brands like Toyota, Mazda, Honda, Kia, Ford, Dodge, Chevy, it might take you a little bit of getting used to this. Subaru puts the gas tank on the passenger side. They do that for two reasons. One is shorter lines at the pump, and two, if you're ever stuck on the side of the road because you ran out of gas, you're not trying to put gas in your car where cars are zooming by you. So on the Limited and the Touring, you're going to be getting a key fob. Now, battery life on this should be good for about 2 to 3 years, depending on how far you're sending the signal every day. There's a little button in the back of the key here. So if you push that button, when the battery starts going low, you can take the key out, stick it in here, unlock the door, and get in. Now, when you get to that point to where the battery's that dead and you have to take the key out to unlock the door, you're gonna take this key fob, put it right up to the start button and push the button. You can get away with that for about 3 days. Either switch to your second key or go to your local dealer and get yourself a new battery. Now, one of the cool things is if this is clipped onto your keys or in your pocket or in your purse, there's a sensor that's inside the handle, so when your hand goes in, it automatically knows that it's there. You can unlock it. This little line right here, those two lines are sensors to lock the car. So you just touch it there, and then it automatically locks. Now, let's say that's the unlock. And if you were to do one of these bonehead moves where you leave your key inside and you try and lock the car, it'll never let you lock it. So very cool. So thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and got some pointers and some of the things that separate Subaru from everybody else. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment box below. Make sure you hit the little bell so that way you get notified every time we upload a new video. My phone number is area code 559-260-0793. If you have any questions or you want to book us to make videos of your cars, you can also do that there. My name is Victor Bravo and I'm signing out. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Wait, what?